Hello everyone, welcome back to EPL Fantasy Tips. I'm your host, Simon Berryclaw. In this game week, I will be going over the squad as usual. This is the game week just before the World Cup, so I've made one transfer, as you can see on my squad here if you follow the channel. I brought in Jesus, transferred out Mitrovic. Mitrovic had an injury issue, so I was not very confident that he would be on the pitch for this game week. So I transferred him out, brought in Jesus. Jesus is a regular on my squad. I've had him in before, and I decided to bring him back in since he's playing Wolves. Wolves are not the greatest team at the moment. Alright, let's start at the back, as we usually do. Move along to the defenders, midfielders, and complete the analysis with the forward group. As you can see, I have a 3-5-2 formation, which is a little bit unusual. Usually it's maybe 3-4-3, though this week I've changed it a little bit. As you can see, I have the Fantasy Football Fix app installed. If you missed the previous couple game weeks, I installed it a couple game weeks ago. It shows the schedules for each of the players, just below their icon here. Alright, let's begin with Alisson. My typical goalkeeper. I've carried him in for the majority of the season. Liverpool are getting a little better. Liverpool have not been performing very well defensively, so it's been hurting the defender group along with the goalkeeper, though I think that their schedule is fairly easy for the remainder of the year up to December. Perhaps after the World Cup I may bring in another keeper. We'll see how it goes. There's probably going to be lots of injuries and there'll be questions after the World Cup. So it should be an interesting game week once they all return to their regular squads after the World Cup. So there's Alisson. Onto the defender group with Connor Cody. Everton have an easy schedule for the next couple game weeks. And then after the World Cup they have Man City. So I believe Cody will be all right for the next couple of game weeks. He performed very well against Crystal Palace and Fulham, so I have him on against Bournemouth. Next we have Cancelo. He's a regular at the back for me. The ICT index is strong. He got a red card against Fulham, though. He's still going to be playing this game week because I believe he had Man City had a previous game which counted for his red card suspension, so he'll be back on the pitch this week against Brentford. Next we have Virgil van Dijk. Southampton is not the greatest team, so I think he will likely get a clean sheet and an easy 6 points. It's a fairly easy schedule for Liverpool for game week 16, 17 and 18. Again, Liverpool have not been performing very well defensively, though I believe they will bounce back in the next couple of game weeks. So I'm keeping Van Dijk on the pitch. On to the midfielders. We have Almiron. He's just been playing outstanding, hasn't he? He's got 4 goals in the past 4 games. And then in game week 9 he potted 2. In game week 10 he had 1. Against Manchester United he didn't do much, but he's really on fire, so I'm keeping him on, even though they're playing Chelsea. They're playing at home, so Newcastle will have the advantage there. Next we have Rashford. Great value pick, I believe. More people are coming back on the Rashford train. You can see 19% have selected him, though I believe that's still fairly low. ICT index is not bad. He scored his 100th goal for Man United against West Ham United. Fixtures for Man U are very, very good here, so I think it's good. It's a good time to pick up some Man U players. Martinelli, the next pick. 49%, fairly high selection rate, though I believe he's still very good value at 6.8. ICT index is very good for the midfielder group. He had a goal against Forest. He played a full 90 against Chelsea, though did not get any points. Arsenal have a fairly easy schedule leading up to the World Cup. Next we have Mr. Dependability himself, Wilfred Zaha. I vice-captained him. They're playing Forest, and Forest has many goals against, so I think it's a good chance for Zaha to pick up some points, possibly a goal or an assist or two. Fairly low selection rate for Zaha still. ICT index is strong. He scored a goal against West Ham United and an assist. Strong 12 points. 3 easy games coming up as well against Forest, Fulham and Bournemouth. It might be time to actually bring him off and transfer in a new player in game week 19 against Spurs, but we shall see. And lastly in midfield we have Bernardo. I believe he's a good pick for Man C. Not many people have selected him. ICT index is on the rise. He did very well since game week 3. Picked up points in almost every game week until game week 9. Had a little bit of a slump in game weeks 10 and 11. Got a couple assists against Brighton. So since he hasn't done much in the past 2 game weeks, I believe he will likely score something in the upcoming game week against Brentford. Alright, and lastly on to the forward group here. We have Jesus. I brought in Jesus, transferred out Mitrovic. Arsenal's playing Wolves. Jesus had 2 assists against Forest. Played a full 90 against Chelsea, though didn't score. Arsenal are playing Wolves and Man U. Brighton on game week 18 after the World Cup. So yes, Arsenal has a fairly easy schedule all the way up to game week 30. I believe it's a good idea to bring in some Arsenal players since they're challenging for the title and their schedule is very easy for a good chunk of the remainder of the season here. And last but not least, Harry Kane. I've captained him. Spurs are playing Leeds. Fairly low selection rate for Kane, even though he tends to score in every game. He's really the only forward that can challenge Haaland. And there's also a good chance he can score a hat-trick or put in 2 goals. He has the potential and the capability to do that. So that's why I've selected Kane. Haaland just has such a high selection rate, so I prefer Kane at the moment. I jumped off the Haaland bandwagon and reverted to my previous strategy of selecting players who have low TSB percentages. I think it gives you a differential advantage if you select a player who has a lower selection rate, and if they score, you outperform the others who have selected the high TSB selected players. And schedule for Spurs is quite easy up to game week 21 where they play Fulham, and then Man C is the most difficult. Alright, so there you have it. There is the squad for this game week, and after this we have the World Cup, so best of luck to your country's team and best of luck on the upcoming game week. Please like and subscribe. As always, I'm your host, Simon Berryclove, and you're watching EPL Fantasy Tips on YouTube.